Busy intersections like this one at Granville and 11th are examples of high traffic areas where the new howler siren could be useful. With distractions such as loud music and cell phones, the emitting of vibrations is meant as a safety measure. 3/4 of BC's gas leaks could have been prevented. The BC One agency is encouraging excavators to call ahead to find out where gas lines are before digging. Roop Dosanjh in Vancouver for BCIT magazine. Whether you choose something more traditional or scary this Halloween, know that there are lots of choices for costumes. Roop Dosanjh in Vancouver for BCIT magazine.
Who wants to keep the bowling alley?
Yeah! These residents are protesting to save their beloved bowling alley. With the possibility of demolition in the near future, these angry bowlers of mothers, children, and seniors are marching from Varsity Ridge Bowl to City Hall. Save the bowling alley! They want their voices heard.
We don't agree with the demolition. It'd be nice to see what type of considerations there could be had, and that's today's agenda.
Used to bowl at the Ridge Bowling years ago when I was a kid, and it's, I think, a great part of the community. I think we need areas where the community can gather and places that are affordable for people to have a fun evening out.
This model shows what the lot could look like in the future: retail space and condominiums. With over 10,000 signatures against the development, it's a plan that members of the community are struggling to accept.
If you look around here, you'll see all the people here are people who care about bowling, and this is their community. It's a gathering space. It's a place where people come together and they actually meet friends, they have a good time. So I'd like to work with the park board and the city and have them help us get a bowling alley that continues to work for the people of this city.
You know, it's a very, I like bowling. You know, it's got a lot of nostalgia, but at the end of the day, this business is not feasible as it stands today. You know, I have correspondence from them asking for rent to be reduced, and you know, who's supposed to give those concessions?
Cressy Development Group says the economic life of this bowling alley has come to an end. Unfortunately, for those wanting to bowl, need to take advantage before it's too late. These enthusiastic bowlers are hoping their bowling alley will continue to be a place they can come to. Unfortunately, they only have until the summer to reverse the developer's decision. Roop Dosanjh in Vancouver for BCIT magazine. Anthony asked may look like your typical 17-year-old with a sweet tooth. But these candy bars aren't for satisfying a craving. They could save his life. Ast was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at the age of 6.
I have to monitor quite a bit, and I have to check quite often my blood sugars and do insulin shots and things like that. And if I'm lower, I always have to have a juice or a cookie or something on hand just in case.
And that is something Coach Don Hay has to think about every time Ast takes the ice. It's not just Hay. Ast's teammates also have to know what to look for.
We've made it aware to the other players in the dressing room and on the road that they have to kind of keep an eye on Anthony, especially his roommate on the road.
Ast checks his blood with this insulin kit 15 to 20 times a day on game days. Big games equals big stress, and that can affect his blood sugar levels and his on-ice performance.
It's always before a game, it's always tends to be higher because my adrenaline is pumping through my body, and that does have a factor in my blood sugars being higher. I tend to be sluggish, or my reactions might be too quick and I may lose the puck.
But Ast doesn't need to look far for inspiration. NHL Hall of Famer Bobby Clarke also has diabetes and was once told he would never play professional hockey.
He would pave the way for diabetic hockey players like myself for allowing us to continue on with our dreams, so he was kind of my role model growing up.
Ast has never let the challenges of having diabetes get in the way, and he's not going to start now. The 17-year-old hopes this year is his year. Roop Dosanjh, CBC News, Vancouver. Good evening, I'm Roop Dosanjh with a quick sports break. The bad news continues for hockey fans. The NHL has cancelled the rest of the preseason. The next date to circle on your calendar, October 11th. That is supposed to be opening night. The two sides are expected back at the negotiating table Friday. Regular officials will be on the field tonight when the Baltimore Ravens host the Cleveland Browns. The NFL and Officials Union agreed to a new 8-year agreement last night. The league had used replacement officials for the first 3 weeks of the regular season. And a day to remember for Detroit's Doug Fister. The pitcher set an AL record by striking out 9 straight batters as the Tigers kept their lead in the Central, beating the Kansas City Royals 5-4. The Tigers began the day with a 1-game edge over the Chicago White Sox. The Sox host Tampa Bay later tonight. We'll have more at 11.